Ever wondered what happens when you completely vanish from someone's life? No texts, no calls, no contact, just gone. In today's world, where people take others for granted, disappearing can shake their world. If you've ever been treated like an option, this video is for you. We'll explore the 9 emotional stages they'll go through when you walk away. By the end, you'll understand why sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to simply leave. Ready to make them miss you? Watch till the end to discover the bonus 10th stage and never be an option again. Let's dive in. 1. The sting of rejection. When you vanish from someone's life, it's like hitting them with a brick they never saw coming. They never expected it, and they never saw it coming. To them, you were always the one who put in the effort, who made the plans, and who showed up. You were the person who was there for them, no matter what. You were reliable, the one they counted on. You were the safety net, the constant presence in their life. But when you disappear, everything changes. It's not just about your physical absence, it's about what you represented. The comfort, the validation, the emotional stability. You were their anchor, and once you're gone, they feel the weight of that loss. And here's where it stings. They never realized how much they depended on you until you were gone. When you were always available, they started taking you for granted. They thought they could leave you hanging, always assuming you'd be there to pick up the pieces. They thought they could do better, and now they're left with a deep personal sting of rejection. They've lost control over you, and for the first time, they feel powerless. 2. The void of missing you. After the sting of rejection settles, they start to feel something else, the void. It's an emptiness they never anticipated. Maybe they convinced themselves they wouldn't care if you left. Maybe they even told themselves they'd move on easily. But when you actually vanish, it's not so easy. That void grows larger with each passing day. They go through their daily routine, but something's missing. It's not just the big moments, but the little things. The laughter, the inside jokes, the way you made them feel understood. The energy you brought into their life is suddenly gone, and they feel it. They try to fill the gap with distractions, maybe with friends or work, but nothing can replace the unique energy you brought to the table. They didn't appreciate you when you were around, but now that you're gone, everything feels dull. No one else can bring the same warmth and emotional stability you did. The more they try to move on, the bigger the void grows. It's a constant reminder of what they've lost. They thought they could do better, but now they're realizing you were irreplaceable. 3. Overwhelming curiosity. As time passes and the void lingers, their curiosity starts to kick in. Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? They're desperate to know what's going on in your life because they no longer have access to you. They've become obsessed with trying to figure out what you're doing, and it's eating away at them. In the age of social media, curiosity becomes even more intense. They check your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any platform they can think of, hoping to catch a glimpse of your life. But here's the key: you've gone dark. There are no updates, no posts, no stories. This drives them crazy. Human beings hate the unknown. The more they can't find out about you, the more they wonder, have you moved on? Are you with someone else? Are you happier without them? Their insecurity starts to eat away at them, and the more they can't figure it out, the more they fixate on you. They may even reach out to mutual friends to get information, asking what you're up to, but they'll never admit they care. They're too proud. This is where their curiosity turns into obsession. The less they know, the more they need to know. You've become the mystery they can't stop thinking about. Number 4, deep self-reflection. Finally, after days, weeks, or even months of wondering where you've gone and why, they reach the stage of self-reflection. They start asking themselves tough questions. Was I too distant? Did I take them for granted? Did I push them away? The regret sets in. It's a bitter pill to swallow. For the first time, they realize that the problems in the relationship weren't because of you, they were because of their own actions. They start replaying every moment in their mind. They remember the times they ignored your calls, the times they brushed off your feelings, the moments they treated you like you didn't matter, and it hits them hard. Here's the thing, during this stage, they can't blame you anymore. You're not around to argue with, to make excuses for, or to smooth things over. All they can do is face their own behavior, and that's not easy. The guilt starts to build. They wish they could turn back time and do things differently, but it's too late for that now. And here's where you come in. Don't reach out. Don't try to explain why you left, or show them the error of their ways. Let them figure it out on their own. Self-reflection is a powerful tool, but it's most powerful when it happens internally. The more they reflect, the more they'll realize they were the ones who messed up. Let them sit with their guilt. Let them feel the weight of their mistakes. Because in the end, it's a lesson they need to learn. Number 5. The urge to pursue. After they've spent enough time in self-reflection, something inside them starts to shift. It's subtle at first, but it builds over time. They move from questioning their decisions to feeling the undeniable pull to want you back. The tables have turned. You were once the one who put in all the effort, the one who cared deeply, the one who was pursuing. But now, the roles have reversed, and it's their turn to pursue you. The urge to reconnect becomes overwhelming. They can't stop thinking about you. They find themselves repeatedly wondering if it's too late to make things right, and they struggle with the idea of losing you for good. They might start by sending you those "I've been thinking about you" texts. They'll like your old Instagram posts, or maybe even comment on something from the past, hoping for a response. Late-night messages after a few drinks, hoping to rekindle what was once lost. It's their attempt to reach out, to feel like they still have a chance. Here's the thing, they're chasing you now. Once they took you for granted, but now they desperately want you back, and in this moment, you hold all the power. The urge to pursue you is undeniable, but you don't need to respond. In fact, you shouldn't. Let them feel the desperation. Let them wonder if you've moved on. The more they pursue, the more they'll realize they've lost control of the situation. They no longer hold the upper hand, and that drives them crazy. When they start chasing, don't give in. The moment you respond, the power shifts back to them. You've worked too hard to reclaim your worth, and now is not the time to give that away. Let them pursue you, but don't reward their efforts. Silence is your strongest tool. Let them feel the frustration of wanting something they can no longer have. Number 6. The battle between relief and regret. When you first disappear, they may experience a brief sense of relief. It's that initial feeling of freedom. They tell themselves, "Finally, I don't have to deal with them anymore." Maybe they even feel a bit good about it, telling themselves they made the right choice. But here's the reality, that so-called freedom is nothing more than an illusion. It feels exciting at first, but it's superficial. It's temporary. They might go out, hang with their friends, swipe through dating apps, and for a moment, it feels like they've moved on. But then, the silence sets in. When they're alone, when they're sitting in their quiet apartment or scrolling through their phone, that's when the regret starts creeping in. They realize that the freedom they thought they had is nothing more than emptiness. The people they thought could replace you, they're just surface-level distractions. It's like drinking salt water when you're thirsty. It seems like a solution, but it just leaves them feeling more dehydrated, desperate, and regretful. What's even worse is that in today's world of casual dating and short-term flings, people often assume moving on is as easy as finding someone new. But it's not. They quickly learn that you can't replace someone who gave you emotional stability and real connection with a quick fix or a meaningless hookup. And that realization is what knocks them flat on their back. So let them experience this freedom. Don't rush back in when they start feeling regret. Let them sit in that empty space they thought would feel so good. The relief they initially felt is temporary, but your absence will haunt them in ways they never expected. Number 7, the desire to play the game. Once the regret settles in, panic sets in. Now, they want to control the situation, but they don't know how. So, they resort to playing games. They start acting distant on purpose, hoping to make you jealous. They post photos with other people, trying to make it look like they're perfectly fine without you. Maybe they'll post a cryptic status about moving on, or post a selfie that tries a little too hard. All of it is just one big attempt to reel you back in, to make you wonder what they're up to. But here's the thing, you're not playing anymore. You've outgrown these games. You've moved beyond that childish behavior. You don't even notice their petty attempts to provoke a reaction. You see, people think that manipulation, through jealousy or playing hard to get, will make you chase after them. But what happens when you've stopped chasing? When you've grown tired of the games? They'll throw everything at you. Subtle digs, passive-aggressive comments, exaggerated posts on social media. But none of it works because you're not giving them the attention they crave. You're not engaging in their childish tactics, and that drives them absolutely mad. When they can't get a reaction out of you, they lose control completely. They're left flailing, grasping for something they can no longer manipulate. Don't engage. Ignore the cryptic posts. Don't react to the photos. Their game only works if you play. The moment you stop responding is the moment they realize they've lost their power over you. Number 8, the crushing weight of silence. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you can use. When you disappear, the absence of your words, your texts, and your presence speaks louder than anything you could ever say. It leaves them with nothing but their own thoughts. And here's where it gets tough for them. The silence is unbearable. It's like a weight they can't carry, and they start questioning everything. They begin to think back to all the times they ignored your calls, all the moments they were too busy to reply to your texts. And now they would do anything to hear from you. Silence is torturous for someone who is used to having control. They expect you to reach out, to ask what's wrong, to beg for an explanation. But what happens when you don't? What happens when you disappear? And they have to sit there, in the quiet, wondering if they've lost you for good. They can't understand it. Every minute without a word from you feels like a year. The longer it goes, the more anxious they become. In a world where communication is instant, silence becomes deafening. Don't break it. Don't explain yourself. Let them feel the weight of their own actions through the absence of your words. They'll soon realize that losing access to you is far worse than any argument you could have had. Number 9, the fear that brings them crawling back. And then it all comes crashing down. Fear. This is the part they never thought would happen. The part where they're actually scared of losing you for good. For so long they were comfortable. They thought you'd always be there. They took your presence for granted, thinking you were the one who would stick around no matter what. But now, you're gone, and they're terrified. The fear hits them harder than anything else. They start to wonder, what if I lost them for good? What if they've moved on to someone else? The idea of you being with someone new consumes their mind. They picture you laughing with someone else, making memories with someone else, and the thought of it makes them sick to their stomach. They're no longer worried about their pride, their ego, or playing it cool. All they can think about is getting you back. This fear drives them to do things they swore they'd never do. They'll reach out, they'll apologize, they'll beg. Maybe they'll send long, heartfelt messages explaining how they didn't appreciate you before, but now they see your worth. They might even show up at your door unannounced, hoping for a second chance. But here's the truth. By the time they feel that fear, you've already moved on. You've found your strength. You've found your independence. You don't need them anymore. Their fear is real, but it's too late. When they come crawling back, don't give them a second chance just because they're afraid. Let them face the consequences of their actions. You've already moved on, and they need to learn that you're not an option to be taken for granted. Number 10. The realization of emotional independence. This is where everything comes full circle. The realization of your own emotional independence. When you disappear, you're not just walking away from them. No, you're walking towards your own freedom, your own emotional clarity, your own peace. You see, in many relationships, we get so caught up in trying to make the other person happy, in trying to prove our worth, that we often forget about our own needs. We forget that we have the power to choose, the power to walk away, to demand better for ourselves. But once you've vanished, once you've reclaimed your space, you start to see things clearly. You no longer need their validation. You no longer care about what they think, how they feel, or what they want. You've realized that your happiness isn't tied to them. That realization is the most powerful thing you can experience. Emotional independence. And here's the best part. They feel it too. They realize that you're not the same person they once knew. You're stronger now. You're wiser. You're more confident. They can sense it. You've outgrown them. They realize that you no longer need them to feel complete. This is where the tables have turned for good. They're stuck in the same old patterns, but you've evolved. You've broken free from the cycle of seeking validation. And now their opinion means nothing. Own your emotional independence. Don't go back to the old ways. Don't give them the satisfaction of thinking they still have control over your happiness. You've moved beyond that. And that, my friend, is your biggest win. The lesson here. So, what's the lesson in all of this? Stop giving people the chance to take you for granted. Stop being the person who's always there, no matter how badly they treat you. The moment you walk away, the moment you vanish, everything changes. You hold the power now. They'll feel it, they'll regret it, and they'll realize they've lost something irreplaceable. Taking back your power. If you're ready to reclaim your power, to stop being an option, then I want you to comment below with the words, "I'm done being an option." Because if you do, you're about to step into the most powerful version of yourself. Support the channel. If this video hit home for you, if you felt a shift in your mindset while watching, consider joining the channel's memberships. It helps us keep creating more quality content like this and makes it accessible to as many people as possible. And hey, if membership isn't for you, no worries. Simply hit that subscribe button. Both options help the channel grow, and I truly appreciate every bit of support. Remember, you're in control now. You've got this. I'll see you in the next video.